Good morning, students. How are you all? Hope you all are doing your works well. Welcome to today's Social Studies online class. In the last class, we have seen that China, Nigeria, and Vietnam were like colonies. But in our new textbook, Vietnamese topic is removed. Sorry for the inconvenience. And now, in today's class, we are going to learn about what happened in Nigeria. The map you see here is the African political map. And all these countries were united with their tribal identities. That means based on their tribal groups, they were united. And the country you can see here is Nigeria, and this is also created by the British, bringing together all the regions around the river Niger system. Northern Nigeria is dominated by Hausa Fulani people who were predominantly Muslims, and southeastern part is dominated by Igbo tribes, and southwestern part is dominated by Yoruba tribes. The people in these areas, both southern parts, mostly they were following Christianity because of the long years of Christian missionary activities. Before a common government was formed, there were many conflicts between these three regions because of the natural resource, especially the petroleum. Petroleum was still continued to be under the control of the foreign powers. The region of river Niger is one of the most densely populated countries of Africa, and this region suffered from many colonial rules. Especially in 16th century, slave trade began in Africa. Tribal peasants were captured in the African jungles and sold to Americans. Slave trade was abolished in the 19th century, and now these colonial powers put their interest in the agricultural produce of this area, especially palm oil and cocoa, which gave a big profit. They developed Lagos as their center of administration, trade and education in Western Africa. And the struggle against colonialism also started in Lagos, and the ideas of Pan-Africanism and Nigerian nationalism also emerged here. Children, what is Pan-Africanism? Pan-Africanism is an idea which promotes the unity of all African people irrespective of country or tribe. That means whichever country they live in or whatever tribe they belong to, they all are uniting under the idea of Pan-Africanism. This unity helped them to fight against the colonialism and racial discrimination. One of the key persons in this regard is Kwame Nkrumah. He is a freedom fighter from Ghana. Racism became common in the British colonial empire during the 19th and the early 20th centuries. Children, when the British were ruling Africa, this racism was common, it seems. That means both these Africans and Britain people were not treated equally. They used to show discrimination for the African people in all the aspects, like educated Africans were excluded from the civil services. You know, children, what are the civil services? All the main important posts like IAS, IPS, all these. For these services, Africans were educated Africans were being neglected. They were not given chance for these kind of posts. Discrimination against African entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs here means children, business people, businessmen. There was a lot of discrimination shown by the British people, Britain people towards these African businessmen, entrepreneurs. and tribal chiefs and elite were given control over the regions. These tribal chiefs and elite, they used to help this British colonial empire. So they used to give power to these tribal chiefs and elite. Elite means children, village heads like. Children, South Nigeria. South Nigeria means the southern part where these two tribes, Yoruba and Igbo tribes used to live. This South Nigeria got access to modern education and administrative modernization. That means they also followed modern methods in their administration. These two tribes, they got access to modern education, but still pre-modern conditions continued in the northern Nigeria. Whereas South Nigeria got modern education, but northern Nigeria remained to continue pre-modern methods. The British separated both these Yoruba and Igbo tribes and encouraged competition and conflicts between these two regions. They followed divide and rule policy. Britishers followed divide and rule policy, and they divided both these western Nigeria and eastern Nigeria. Both Yoruba tribes and Igbo tribes. How they divided Hindus and Muslims in India. They divided western Nigeria and eastern Nigeria, and they strongly followed the policy of divide and rule policy. A section of Western educated intellectuals responded to this policy. These educated people, Western educated people, that means Yoruba people, those people understood the policy, divide and rule policy of Britain, and they developed the idea of a common Nigerian nation and began to fight the British rule. So what happened, children? They understood the British policy, and they developed the idea of a common Nigerian nation. We all belong to a single nation, Nigeria. We should not fight within ourselves. Like that they understood, and they began to fight the British rule. Herbert Macaulay founded the Nigerian National Democratic Party (NNDP) in 1923, and it was the first Nigerian political party. It won all the seats in the elections conducted in 1923, 28 and 33. In 1930s, Macaulay also supported militant attacks on the British colonial government. So, already you know, children, Britain was ruling Nigeria. So, Macaulay supported, under his ruling, this Macaulay supported militant attacks on the British colonial government. Militant attacks means they like terrorists and all, they used to attack British government. So for this Macaulay gave his support. In 1936, the Nigerian Youth Movement, that is NYM, Nigerian Youth Movement, was founded by Nnamdi Azikiwe. You can see, children, Nnamdi Azikiwe in this picture. So he founded NYM, that means Nigerian Youth Movement, in the year 1936. NYM appealed to all Nigerians regardless of cultural background. So that means they called all Nigerians, that regardless of cultural background, whoever they may be, whichever tribe they may be, they called all the Nigerians, and it quickly grew into a powerful political movement. So NYM grew into a powerful political movement. In 1944, Macaulay and NYM leader Azikiwe agreed to form the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, that is NCNC. Both these NYM and Macaulay together, both of them joined together and formed like NCNC in the year 1944. Azikiwe became the dominant Nigerian nationalist leader. He also supported Pan-Africanism and a pan-Nigerian based nationalist movement. Children, we have seen Pan-Africanism. What is Pan-Africanism? That is uniting of all the Africans irrespective of tribe or anything else. And Pan-Nigerian nationalist movement, that means all Nigerians gathered together to fight for their country against the colonizers. Nigerian nationalism grew in popularity and power in the post-World War II period. See children, after the World War II, finished, this Nigerian nationalist movement grew in popularity. Why? Because Nigeria faced very difficult times. Nigerian soldiers and trade union leaders, both these Nigerian soldiers as well as the trade union leaders, they were the backbone of this movement. For the freedom of Nigeria, these both fought very severely. These soldiers had returned after fighting for the British side in the World War. These soldiers, Nigerian soldiers, they fought on the British side in the World War. So now they also wanted to fight against the British colonialism. In 1945, a national general strike was organized by radical nationalist trade unionists. In 1945, what happened children? A strike was organized by the national trade unionists. Nigerian nationalists had the twin task of fighting the British and also unifying the diverse and conflict ethnic groups of Nigeria. Children, these nationalists were fighting and they had the twin task. What is the twin task? One is to fight against the Britishers, and again second one is unifying all the conflicting ethnic groups. We have seen in the beginning of the topic about 3 ethnic groups were there in the north: Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba and Igbo tribes. There were many conflicts between these ethnic groups, so they wanted to unify all these ethnic groups of Nigeria. The national movement was stronger in South Nigeria, which was more developed as compared to the north. We have seen already children, South Nigeria got access to modern education, and so national movement also was stronger in South Nigeria when compared to the north. This created a north-south divide between the two regions. Even in the south, there were ethnic conflicts between the Yoruba and the Igbos. By 1950s, these 3 regions also had their own anti-colonial movements led by the regional parties. So children, by 1950s what happened? In these 3 regions, they had their own anti-colonial movements. They started their own anti-colonial movements. That means Yoruba started its anti-colonial movement, and Igbo started its own anti-colonial movement, and also Hausa Fulani started its anti-colonial movement, and led by the regional parties, those regional parties in those regions. The Conservative Northern People's Congress in the north, the National Council for Nigeria and the Cameroons NCNC in the east, and the Action Group in the west. Independence and weak democracy. After the wave of nationalism in Nigeria, British decided to hand over power to the Nigerians. They decided to hand over their freedom to Nigerians. Nigeria became independent on 1st October 1963. Unfortunately, a just and democratic balance could not happen. So children, Nigeria became independent on 1st October 1963. But a democratic justice and democratic balance could not happen. Why? Because soon a civil war started in Nigeria. Civil war. What is called civil war? A war within the country. These groups had a war within the country. Military rule started soon and reinforced the domination of the north. What happened children? Military rule started in Nigeria, and the northern people, Hausa Fulani people began to dominate the rest of Nigeria. People made many attempts to bring in civilian and democratic governments, but these failed again and again. People tried many times to bring democratic form of government, but they were failed. The military regime and multinational oil corporations which funded the corrupt rulers worked together. Children, the military regime. Already we have seen that North is dominating all the other parts of Nigeria with the help of military. This military regime, military rulers and multinational oil corporations, that means those who are controlling the oil resources in Nigeria from outsiders, that is outside people, other country people, these both joined together and they worked together. They spread corruption and suppression of human rights in Nigeria. After a long period of military dictatorship, Nigerians elected a democratic government in the year 1999. It remains to be seen how it faces the challenges of building a democratic Nigeria. Oil, environment and politics. Oil was discovered in the Niger Delta in 1950s, and soon various multinational companies headed by the Dutch Shell Company got the rights for oil drilling. See children, 1950s itself oil was discovered in Niger Delta. As soon as oil was discovered, various multinational companies, they began to come to under the leadership of they were headed by Dutch Shell Company, and they got the rights for oil drilling in Nigeria. Today, it is the most important natural resource of Nigeria. What is the most important natural resource, children? Here, oil. Most of the oil wells are owned by these corporations which extract Nigerian oil and share a part of its profits with the military rulers. And as soon as we have seen that 1950s itself oil was discovered, still even when they began to drill the oil, they used to share some part of its profits with the military rulers. But common people get very little benefit from this. And also, more than that, the coastal environment of Nigeria has been disturbed because of the reckless oil extraction by foreign oil companies. See children, not only that, these coastal environments were being polluted because of this reckless, that is negligence in the oil extraction by foreign oil companies. Oil spillage from oil wells has a major impact on the ecosystem. Oil spillage, that means while they were drilling oil, there was a oil spillage. Oil is spilling out and it is polluting all the local ecosystem, that all the water animals and water bodies, it was polluting. Large areas of mangrove forest which are especially susceptible to oil have been destroyed. So that many mangrove forests were destroyed because of this oil spillage. These spills destroy crops and aquaculture through contamination of the groundwater and soil. Even they are also destroying the crops, they are destroying the aquaculture, that means fish and prawns and all used to be reared in the water. So all these were contaminated, and even the groundwater, even the soil is also contaminating because of these oil spillages. Drinking water is also frequently contaminated, and sheen of oil is visible in many local bodies of water. See children, even the drinking water is also getting polluted. Even a sheen of oil is visible in many local bodies of water. In many water bodies like rivers, lakes and all, oil sheen, that means oil, cover of oil is seen in the water bodies. And it affects their health very severely if they drink this contaminated water. Even it also results in cancer and all. So these coastal environments it is getting very contamination and cause a decline in the local fish production. Even the local fish production also is reduced because of this pollution of coastal environments. Throughout the early 90s, there was growing unrest, particularly in the Niger Delta region. People began demanding compensation. Why? Because everything, water bodies are getting damaged. Even it affects their health very much. Their water bodies are getting contaminated. Even aquaculture and all were damaging. So by 1990s, people began to demand compensation. Compensation means they were asking to pay some money for the oil companies, as they are getting lot of profits and they were affecting their health and all. They were demanding compensation. Firstly, it started as a peaceful activist organization. They started to demand like that, but later on in 1990, an eminent human rights activist and environmentalist, he is Ken Saro-Wiwa. Children, you can see the picture of Ken Saro-Wiwa. He was an eminent human rights activist and environmentalist, and he was being executed by the military government despite international protest. Since then, the situation has been tense. Nigeria is still making efforts to come together as a nation, work out a stable democratic system and gain control over its material resources. Still, Nigeria is trying to have a control over its material resources. Children, now it's your turn. Whatever questions I have given you homeworks, just write those questions in the classwork, and also I'll be sending you some pics. Write those questions also. Thank you.